changing lives.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Real Talk here in the studios of Hope TV Ghana. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. You can join the conversation live by leaving your comments under the comment section, and I will do my best to read some of your comments as we progress with the discussion. My name is Evie and I have been joined in the studio by amazing panelists. I'll introduce them shortly. But today's story is a very interesting one, and I was very surprised with the number of women that could relate to this story, the number of people that reached out, the number of people that shared their stories that were very similar to what we are about to discuss today. You know, there's this thing we say, when a woman has a baby, everybody wishes her all the best, they bless her with and all that. And you can see that we are all excited with that news, and we can also see that it comes with so much joy because we know that giving birth is not easy. We know that when you go in there and you come out with your child, it's a blessing because we lose so many mothers and children during this process. And we also understand that it comes with its struggle. A young mother trying to settle in, think about how to manage her baby, her home, and even the issue of breastfeeding. It's a whole thing altogether. Some children cannot latch properly. The mothers wonder if there's something wrong with them. There's lack of sleep. Mother-in-laws coming in and mothers coming in to bathe the child. The husband-wife dynamic changes. It's a whole lot of things. And that's why I understand when they say that it takes a village to raise a child. Because obviously the mother and the father cannot do it alone by themselves. And today's story is a very, very sad one. And people may trivialize it and make fun of it and think, oh, why is this person doing that and why is the husband not being understanding? But you can see how deep it runs in our society. And you can see how we ignore the call for help, even in the things that some of these mothers do. It can be as simple as she not wanting to go out anymore. It can be as simple as she not enjoying the things she used to enjoy anymore. And people would say, oh, I want this is but maybe that would be a cry for help. And my prayer is that when we see these things, we don't ignore them, but rather give the women the help that they need. And hopefully that is what we are going to do in the studio today. I am here with Mrs. Esther Opoku Ajiman. She's no stranger. She's been here before. She's very passionate when it comes to this. But today she's going to speak as a health person, you know, with emphasis on reproductive health. She's very passionate about that, and she's going to share her story with us. She's going to help this lady come out of this situation that she finds herself. And we have a counselor, Pastor Elijah Benin. Am I right? Beni.
Yeah.
He's also here with us. He's a counselor as well. He's going to help us with the professional aspect, how these people can, you know, navigate this situation and come out stronger. Joining us virtually is also Pastor Nelson Ajiman. Pastor, your last name, I don't want to butcher it, so I would ask you to do us the honors and tell us your last name. It's Pastor Nelson Ajiman.
Yeah, it's really OKO. So you can pronounce OKO.
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 Oko. Oh yes.
Don't let the spelling deceive you.
Okay. Yes, the spelling was what was deceiving me. Thank you so much for joining us today, Pastor. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. Esther, how's your week been?
My week, good. Relatively good.
We thank God. And the family?
By God's grace, everybody's doing very well.
Thank God. Thank God. Counselor. I'll be calling you counselor today. There's another pastor on it, so that there's no confusion. How has your week been?
Oh, it's very good.
Right.
Ministry is not easy. You work.
It's a calling. Yes. It has to be a calling. 24/7. It's not for anybody. It's not for the weak.
Yes.
We thank God for life.
Yes.
We thank God for life. We are going to go into our story. I'm going to read our story to us, then we can have the discussion. So he says, Dear Real Talk, I need help with my wife. She's losing herself and indirectly losing me as well. My wife does not take care of herself. We have 2 children. The last one is a little over 2 years, and my wife is still breastfeeding her. She smells of breast milk and sweats all the time. She complains of being tired with headaches every night. What baffles me is I got her nannies right after our first child because I knew the chores would be hectic. But she ends up doing the work all by herself. She either does not like how they do it, complains when they do it, or ends up doing it again. Why do I keep paying them if she'll end up doing the work herself anyway? We have sacked more than 6 nannies because my wife does not like how they work. She's a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home wife, and should have more time to take care of herself since I got her help. But no, my wife will be walking around the house in her big dresses, doing all the chores while reeking of breast milk and sweat. And it's not as if she does not have nice clothes. I am ashamed to go anywhere with her because of her body odor and her choice of clothes. This is not the woman I married. We can afford the luxury of hiring multiple help, but still my wife looks so haggard and tired all the time. We tried counseling for a few weeks, but she went back to her old ways just days after. I am getting tired, really. What again can I do as a husband? Letting her know she smells and looks haggard isn't helping. Getting her the help too is not working, and it looks like she will always go back to her ways after counseling. So at this point, what again can I do? This is a husband calling out for help, crying for help, trying to find how to help his wife. And hopefully we can help her. But Esther, what is your take on this story, you know, being the field that you are in and what you are passionate about? Right. What is your take on the story?
Right. So when I read the story, my first impression was that this is reality. You know, it's very real, and then we can appreciate what the man is worried about, and we can also appreciate what the woman is also going through. And from a health point of view, this is something that we don't actually talk a lot about. And I'm hoping through this program and through this platform, we can share a few pointers for especially potential parents, you know, that will help us to prepare ourselves adequately for what it entails to have a family life.
Right.
And hopefully at the end of this program, Mr. and Mrs., hopefully we should be able to point you to the right direction for a lot more help than what you've gotten so far.
Yes, hopefully. We wish we can do that. Counselor, I'm sure you've heard stories. People have come to you trying for you to help them, trying to tell you, oh, this is what we are going through. But with this particular story, what came to mind? What is your take on it? What do you think is going on here?
When I read it, I saw a transition that is not properly managed between the 2 people. Because when you get married, transitioning from single to parenthood is a transition. And the 2 need to understand that transition.
Right.
Because in that transition, it comes with issues that need to be handled. So here I see that they have transited to become first-time parents, but there are issues with that that they need to resolve. 2, I have seen that they have started counseling, and I've seen about 2 weeks, but the woman relapsed.
Yes.
Went back to her old ways of doing things. So I see that the counseling session has not ended. Okay, so I don't know why they didn't end the counseling session. And also, some issues need to have been explored because the woman's personality has also changed. And she's doing things by herself, feeling good. She doesn't want anybody to support. All these issues should have been what? Should have been explored in the counseling session to know the cause of it.
Right.
But I think it is sketchy. It is not. And then finally, I look at it, the way she sweats and had headaches tells me that they need to go further beyond the counseling session.
Right.
And have a doctor or a clinical psychologist to come in to check what is the cause. Maybe something is building up somewhere we don't know.
Right.
And I think that will help them.
Right, absolutely. Thank you. Pastor, what is your take on this story? What came to mind when you read it?
Before then, let me say a very good evening to your viewers. I'm grateful. When I first read the story, the impression that I got was that there is a will. And whenever there is a will, there is a way. Right. And so I think that all hope is not lost.
Right.
There is something that could be done. One thing that we need to know is that marriage is teaching and learning process, and that it is a shared responsibility that both couples, the husband and wife, must understand. And so going forward, I think that at the end, we'll be able to provide at least a roadmap where they will be able to appreciate themselves and then come back together with their first love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Esther. This one, I'm coming to you. The struggles mothers go through after childbirth, emotionally, physically, psychologically, all the least you can think of. Let's have that conversation because sometimes people don't talk about what they are going through. Right. Because when you complain, and when you're bina, you know, they make it seem like you shouldn't complain because you have a blessing. People are looking for it. People are struggling, and you've got it. You're coming to complain about how it's difficult. Sure. So a lot of people keep it in. And being a mother, and thankfully you've done this beautifully. Please, let's have this conversation.
Yes. So let's start the journey a little bit further back. So the actual journey begins when you are anticipating pregnancy. Okay. You know, the emotional stress that women go through, especially when there are difficulties in conception and all that. It starts from there. And then you get pregnant and there's a whole issue of hormonal imbalances here and there. Some lose the pregnancy and then conceive again. And so it even builds up more anxiousness. The fear, the anticipation, because we know that we hear a lot of stories about birthing and all. Pregnant, you are scared because you are you have no idea how yours is going to turn out.
Hallelujah. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, Tikobo number 1 District, Southwest Ghana Conference. What's say? A music night. A night of music. Nearby Tronyomania Chun to myself. We Yehowania Kadenya me. Why Yemiano Dosom. Date no year 25th March 2023. Time 6 p.m. sharp. Venue Tikobo number 1 Central Church. Eshe theme I want out to them. You made it also come. Let's praise our Lord. Also, bra. Ni Raza. Zion. Jumedi Yatun suffering you to Fubebre. Amazing singers, Wolfrey Amazing Grace SDA Church, that Jane, our Axim district. Damaso, and I am to follow what Tikobo #1 district. Ebi, only Tikobo #1 Central Church Choir, singing band and quartet. Elena Central Church Youth Choir, singing band and Holy Family Quartet. Nuba Church Choir, and singing band and quartet. Mbataba Church Choir, singing band and quartet. Samaye Church Choir, singing band and quartet. Damaso na Tikobo #2 Church Choir, singing band and quartet. Yatun say that for our soul that you make Hinara, our district in the Wombra. Now I'm back on a young cadet. Now you're does so. Host pastor James Adoboza or your district pastor, the Marshall guest pastors, no, your pastor Ebenezer Aka Ano, on your Aguna East district pastor, Pastor Francis Kofi Ofori, Hafaslin district pastor, Mipocho Bra, and your life will never be the same.
We learn a lot as we journey through life. Our teachers might be family, neighbors, or even colleagues. But it can be difficult to find a mentor who truly understands our heart, our dreams, our goals. Someone who can help us overcome our deepest challenges. The Bible reveals that God wants to be your closest mentor, teacher, and friend. At Hope Channel, we can help you find freedom, healing, and hope in Jesus, and the wisdom in His Word, the Bible. We pray that the courses at Hope Study will help you find answers to your deepest questions. Let's walk together toward a deeper experience of wisdom and joy.
Yamamu akwaba stronko kura. Inspiration behind the hymns. Makwa jojo na mewa hymn.
The main objectives are two main objectives for this beautiful program. We sing a lot of hymns for different worship services, including Sabbaths, as Seventh-day Adventists. We want to find out who are the people who wrote these hymns, who are the composers that they worked with. What was the inspiration, the motivation, the power that enabled them to pen these beautiful hymns down for our benefit? That is number one. And then number two is to encourage congregational singing. It appears as Seventh-day Adventists, we have to improve our congregational singing. Join us on the program Inspiration Behind the Hymns.
Every Friday, 8 to 9 p.m. on Hope Channel.
Hello and welcome to Hope Channel, and of course to your favorite program, Watch These Signs.
As long as you are not in that boundary, He will do all kinds of things to protect you so that you continue to move. There are times some things should have happened which should have crushed you to death, but because of the power of God, to give you extra more time so that you can consider the issues of eternity. From plug things
on the farm.
Verse 23.
Yes, and that was when the Pharisees came, then he made this statement. And that is the same response people give today. That the Sabbath law says, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do this, don't touch this, don't go to market, don't. And so people use this text to tell you that even Jesus.
We are ADRA, a global community of people helping people. Our work reaches women, children, and men in need, in communities big and small around the world, in challenging times and rewarding times. We serve humanity so all may live as God intended, with justice, compassion, and love. Learn more about us and get involved. ADRA.
For Kaise, Obra Kontuo nyina wietwa apomuden papa. Enija akoma enso ejina apomuden eso. Enam senti Hope TV ahihye dwumadie sununku bia yatoro din apomuden pa afo apomuden ekon. Ekon na yetena se na yegiedwa na yakyerɛkyerɛ apomuden konsam.
Na Essex protein can even damage your kidney. Too much protein. And your how kasiye bebro. Ebetumi mo gain weight. And protein here through animal source of protein. E mo ahode no ye nini pi.
Aduane a wodi beboa ho de emwa wo. We tackle nutrition. Yasen kasa afayade akoro ekon we tackle the epidemiology of diseases. Ni yenya da dia baba yare no mo. Ba bia yare no firi kwan akoda ye befa so a ye besi ano kwanso ye de ni nyina emo kai se wakoma ene wapomudene twe wapomuden suye na wobanyine ache kwasia da nwumere biare mawre mfin nonso pepepe anwumere shia prince kwasia mwakon ene nana ye wasiedo ewo Hope TV so na yenche apomuden pa na watumi anyine ache.
Asitre yetwemu hyen obran mu nsem doso emu akukuru ahwe ase doso abenidie ene ohaw ene je kitua bi ne hom in the Hope channel de abrabo yi mu nsem de brew ne nu mu na akukudam ene wona waben ewa de suam efa abusua ho nsem ene bra mu nsem de twetwen komo
Yankopon pesa warefo nya nigye nti de edi kan hia pa yese wo ba hwehwe onipa opeso wa na o hwehwe ekuo bi a woni omu nyina esom ese nipa woni won egidie ye baako ebi a woni nyina som eko baako saafo no mu na sese obi hwehwe eyira na ekunu
enti famre tani yenhia ewa sitan mu nsem so na beboa wo amwanya nigye ewo bra mu ebeboa wo ama otipa nyina atia efise Kristo wo fi odomo a enigye ehyefi homa ene yentena na bra enko sedia ozihwe medas.
It all started in a small upper room with humble, fervent prayer. Threatened by the authorities and banned from preaching, the church prayed and two men witnessed with great power and grace. And people prayed everywhere in one accord, in repentance, with confession and humility, and the lives of people were changed. Two men started out on a missionary journey that would turn the world as they knew it upside down. And the message went out to the world beyond. Corporate prayer helped a prisoner escape. A king requested that his people fast and pray, and the enemy was defeated. A battle won without the need to fight. Through a faithful servant and a young queen's faith and courage, a people were saved. Stories in the Bible showing the power of united prayer.
Nia onyankopon hwehwa ne se onipa bia bedi yie e wasase so. Eno ti adwuma bia wo ye no, wo hia ho nimdie ene nkyerɛkyerɛ papa. Mpanifo se sanwa beba kontomre enkwan ani a na eginemu nam so. Eno nti na Hope channel edi dwumadi a ye frɛ ne se business forum abrewo. Yawada nwumre no ngotwe bia me kyerɛ 8 pm. Shia me na nakwa misika. Menim panimfo a wa ben no wadɔ sukɔ e wo sikasɛmu. Adwadie mu ene enwuma mu besi nkonwa ne amaw nkyerɛkyerɛ papa a ɛbɛboa wo na nso watimi atumpɔn piao.
Thank you so much for waiting. We are sorry for that short in break. We apologize for the sound hindrance here and there. But we are back, and we are going to listen to Esther share her story with us. So please do listen as we continue with Real Talk.
Right. So I was trying to remember the God's pronouncement of the consequences of the sins of Adam and Eve. You know, he told Eve that in pain will you give birth. Okay. And when I saw the pain I was going through, I was like, let me say it in Chi, because the thought was in Chi. I was like, hey, Nyame, and you know, because if that's the kind of pain you were talking about, you know, the pain is undescribable. I pray that every lady gets the opportunity to experience it for themselves, because it's something else, you know. And then there's this thing, let me use this opportunity to address this issue. There is something, in fact, we call it peripartum or perinatal depression. Let's discuss it on this platform, because a lot of us don't know this, and it's really an issue, because about 15% of pregnancies will end up this way. Okay. So we say peripartum when we detect the depression right from the pregnancy stage. Oh. And then we say postpartum if it happens after birth. Yeah. Right. You know, and a lot of women go through it. Most are able to come out of it within a few weeks after birth, you know. But there are that 15% of the population who will get a prolonged condition. And if you are not careful and other issues of life crop in, it will develop into full-blown depression and it's something else. And the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people are not made aware of this even before they decide to plan for their families. You know, so we don't even have the information to look out for. You know, the symptoms to look out for. Right. And I believe as we go along, we'll all agree that in this case, it looks as if this might be the case with our dear sister, you know, whose story we are discussing now. So please, there is something called peripartum or postpartum depression, and it is real. And do you know it can even happen to the spouse, the male? Yeah. Oh. Yes, the depression can even occur on the side of the male. And so we need to educate ourselves and read more. You want to move your family life to another stage, prepare yourself adequately and look out for these things. I pray it doesn't happen to you, but it's real. You can't take that away. And so let's look out for these things and prepare ourselves adequately, because these are some of the things that crop out of, you know, pregnancy and birth and, you know, child raising, especially for new parents and so on and so forth. Yeah,
it's rather unfortunate.
Right.
Counselor, I don't know if you have more to add to Esther's question with regards to struggles mothers go through, but my specific question with you would be, why do you think she's refusing help? Because the husband is saying they've sacked 6 nannies. Yeah. He has brought in 2. If they, I know somebody that if you mop the house or bar again, you know, she wants to do everything again, and every day she's complaining that's what bread. It's not easy. Why is it a personality trait thing? Is it an issue of I'm type A? Is it an issue of I don't want anybody to do anything? Can it be fear? Hey, I have little kids. I don't know what these people are doing. What is going on with her?
Yeah, all comes to play because to transit to parenthood comes with a lot of things. Planning for the child. You become an educator, you become a planner. You manage the life of the child. And you manage yourself.
Sure.
And then you become a caregiver at the same time. So when all these things are not managed properly, then stress, depression sets in. Okay? So available documents explain to us that the moment, let's say, a child is born, 40 hours extra is added to the work of the family. So these 40 hours, who bears the highest of these 40 hours? Definitely the one who takes care of the child bears the highest of it. If it is the man who takes care of the child, out of 40, the man can take 30. But in this case, it may be the woman who will take maybe 35. The man will just take, say, 5. So these 40 extra hours added to a career woman who is already working. What do you think will happen to this person? The person manages this for extra 40 hours, manages herself as a woman and at the same time a wife, manages the child and then the husband in the same house. So when these issues come and the women are managing them, at times we sit back and we see that they are working too much. Because the background also tells that they might have told her, as you go, make sure you prepare food for your husband. Make sure you do everything. If you bring people, they will take your husband away from you. Your husband will say you are lazy. So the woman becomes workaholic. And she doesn't want anybody to help because of the things we have heard. And at the counseling session, we were not able to help them to address them. So we carry it to the marriage. And then it becomes a problem. And here the woman does all these things. And then we men look at our women and say, you are losing it. Because at first I see you taking good care of yourself. But these days you are not doing that. Right. But we have forgotten that. It's the excessive work role in the house that has made the woman not to have time to dress as she used to be. So she has lost what we call loss of self-identity. She's not of herself again. Right. Okay, because there is no support coming. So in this case, when the man says, I brought in nannies, without the consent of the woman will not accept it. Because you're going to bring a nanny to come and work with me in the house, I'm not aware.
And cause problems for me.
And cause problem for me. And these days, people also believe that when they come, some of them are not good, they are witches, and they want to do things to their children, they will not accept it.
Right.
So it has a spiritual implication, socially, and then psychologically. So the woman, you should sit with the woman and say, okay, you need a nanny? Which aspect? Which person? Is it a grown-up person? Or we just need somebody who is 15 who can just take care of the child so that you can do the other chores. You sit with the woman and think of this. If you impose it, the woman will reject the nanny.
Right.
And that's what I've seen here. So women go through a lot of things, and it's up to us as men, we should support them. We need to support our wives in all these things. And I also saw that he complained that the wife sweats.
Yes.
And then smells with the breast milk.
Right.
For sweating, if you give birth, the fluid will come out through sweat. So we advise that she will drink a lot of water to divert the sweat to urine, and that will help. Or when she sleeps, you put a towel on the bed sheet and then you sleep. And then you get some nice deodorant and use them to keep the body. With time, it will go. And then for the smell of the breast, research has shown that when you give birth, it is here the breast will have some scent for the child to locate where the breast is. So it's natural.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It doesn't mean the woman smells the breast. No. It's for the location for the child to identify where the breast is so that the child can suck. So all these things, as the child grows and when, everything goes back to normal. So that shouldn't be a problem. Only that he has to sit with the wife and know who is this woman that I have married. And now he's doing this. Because in marriage, personality changes.
Right.
Yeah, because there are other people who believe that personality by 30, you have changed. And others also believe, the contextualists, that after 30 years, you also change. So as you go through, because of our environment, social life, lifestyle, we change. Situations also changes us. So he should look through all these things and sit with the wife and know that, okay, this is really the problem of my wife. So that they can address it holistically. Else this can lead to divorce or separation.
Whew. As I said, it sounds very simple, but it's not as simple as you would think. There are a lot of things going on here. Pastor Nelson, I don't know if you can hear me. For some reason, I can't see you on my screen, but if you can hear me, kindly say hi.
Hi.
Great. I don't know if you have anything more to add to what has been discussed so far, but my personal question to you, or the specific question to you, would be, how else can this husband help the situation? Because according to him, he's tried. I have gotten you nannies. You have nice clothes. you don't need to work. I mean, money, we are okay. You don't need to work. And I'm saying that relax, maybe take care of the children and then look nice so I can take you out. But from all that is happening, he's beginning to be frustrated and he's wondering who has taken over his wife's body. How else can he help her in this situation?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. One thing that we need to remember is that the first thing we need to ask is that whether or not the woman requested for nannies or house help. It's a question we need to answer because that is not addressed in the write-up. And then also we need to ask whether or not what kind of culture that they have carved for themselves over the years.
Right.
That will tell us a lot about the story. And then what principles or values have they established at home? And then the next question I want to ask is that what was the man doing right that he is no longer doing? What has been the attitude of the husband towards the nannies or the wife? You see, these questions need to be answered, but just as we are limited in terms of resources in the write-up, I would say that the man needs to understand that situations change as we understand.
Right.
But what the woman has to do is the fact that, you know, some women, when they come into a marriage setting or marriage relationship, because they think that everything is okay, everything is over, they were looking for a day where they will celebrate, I am also married. And so they tend to leave certain things. They tend not to pay attention to certain things. And so because of that, they lose what they are supposed to do in the relationship. I would also say that the man has a responsibility to perform.
Right.
You know, like I said earlier on, for marriage to strive and to go on, for happiness to be in the home, it is a shared responsibility. It is not one man's job. One has to put food on the table. One has to prepare the food. One has to prepare the food whilst the other also sweep. So it is a shared responsibility. Now you brought in nannies and you think nannies could do everything. In fact, the woman may say they do it according to their own style, according to how they want it, but not as the house or the standard we have set for ourselves in the home. That is not what they do it. And so I don't like the way they do it. And another thing we need to pay attention to it is to the fact that at the end of the day, when the nannies or the house help do the work with accuracy and then with excellence and then on time, then it will definitely trigger what you call emotional connection, which goes beyond physical appearance and all that. So the man will begin to like the nannies or the house help and all that. And so at the end of the day, the man will not pay attention to the woman. But like I said, for marriage to go on, it is a shared responsibility. At the end of the day, you have brought in nannies who are helping me, and you tend to pay attention to them. That is a problem. But what he needs to do, he must know that providing only nannies is not enough. He must really support the wife in everything, in cooking, in managing the home, in providing food, in providing money, everything. He needs to support that. Now, he doesn't need to let the woman sit at home and say that you need to care for my children or whatever. One thing that people are one mistake that people are making is the fact that when you marry and you say, okay, I'm going to give birth to children, and so at the end of the day, sit at home, take care of my children for me. You lose the potentials of that woman. You lose the talent of that woman. What she is capable of doing. She is not interested in taking care of children. It is you she married. So taking care of the children is part of the marriage, but it is not the end of everything. It is not everything in the home. And so if she is losing it and losing herself, then it means that the man also have a responsibility or a role to play. And whatever the man will do, he must do to make sure that the relationship keeps on. And it is his responsibility to make sure that the home runs perfect enough, such that they will be happy at home, there will be peace at home, and there wouldn't be anything like she's smelling and all that. And I want to say that the man must encourage her. Sometimes you may force a horse to the riverside. You may have done everything, but it is a choice the woman has to make. It is a choice she has to make. I must make sure that I live up to expectation. But living up to expectation doesn't mean that the man doesn't have anything to do. But once I am ensuring that I do what I am expected to do as a woman, the man must also do something. And so one Shannon Alda said, if you spend your time hoping someone will suffer the consequences for what they did to your heart, then you are allowing them to hurt you in a second time in your mind. What he is trying to say here is that don't really expect someone to do something, but you need to inspect. If you are waiting for him to pay the consequences of his actions, then at the end of the day, you are the one who is going to be hurt the most.
Right.
And then that is the point I have to make. Then the next thing is that the man must act beyond what he has done. Like I said, providing nannies or house help doesn't do anything at all. Because at the end of the day, the marriage setting goes beyond nannies.
Right.
They must make sure that the first relationship strive on. It must be there. Because the children are just gifts. They are gifts that God gives. And at the end of the day, our relationship, you are my husband, you are my wife, and we must make sure that because that you are my husband or you are my wife, we need to make sure that our love that we began still goes on. And so the question is, what are the things we can do to make sure that our relationship will go on without paying too much attention to the case, leaving our responsibilities to our wives, our husbands, and all that. And so my take is that the man has a responsibility. He must make sure that he encourages the woman to do what she's not doing right. And then there are certain things you can do, like bathing together. You can just find some lime. At the end of the day, you just give it to her. And then at the end of the day, things will come to normal. And then the man must also provide breastfeeding kits for the woman, and then breast pad as well. That will actually solve the problem of stains and all that. And then the man must also provide napizan. Napizan is an active powder, addictive powder that could remove stains from clothes and all that. So when he is able to provide that, then I'm sure the stains, the smell and everything will go off. And then when they're able to bath together, and then you begin to teach her gradually. Marriage is teaching and learning. And so the day they end up learning, then the marriage will collapse. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Pastor, for that extensive take. I want to read some of the comments because we have a lot. This one is from Nana Masewa. She says, this is almost every woman, but whatever it is, there must be a limit. A break from home will help tremendously, away from the environment. Sure. When she's away for like 2 weeks vacation, full of self-care activities, it will leave her reminiscing and reflecting on who she was before all this. You see, the guy is doing everything right, but not doing everything right. Women like that are extremely selfless, so they tend to forget about themselves. Hence, this is not really about counseling, but the husband should reciprocate what she's doing by taking care of her consciously, fixing mini vacations, weekend trips if they can, afford luxury, as he says, then Dubai or Europe isn't bad at all. Surprise dinners. Yes, surprise dinners. Tell her to dress up, pick her up from home, have dinner, and let the nannies take care of the kids. She needs someone taking care of her while she's taking care of the house. She can't do the two at the same time. It's overwhelming. So all that the writer is saying is not the solution at all. Okay, Chris Nat says, my man, remember that most women make their men noble men. In the same vein, men being the head of the house can do so for women. Once it's love and nothing else that led to the marriage, as it's often said, love is blind. You have a lot to do to make her the best woman on earth than much talking. You've already said that she's hardworking but not lazy. Sit up and help her out, please. Philip Entry says, I think she gets depression from time to time. Let her seek help from a mental health expert. Okay. Akwesi says, sit her down and talk to her. You would be going on a walk with her every weekend. After coming back from the walk, take a bath with her, shave together, apply antiperspirant spray. I think that will work. Do it with her with love. Ajoasewa says, this is postpartum depression. She's really depressed. She needs the support from the husband. Talk to her, go out with her, make her feel like the woman you married. Let her also find a job. Sitting at home will worsen the situation. Love her unconditionally. Okay. Ajoasewa Amwako says, what you can do is to help with the chores yourself and not getting house help. You can shower together and get her lots of breast parts. She needs encouragement, not complaints. Childbirth is no joke and can alter a lot of things, so you need patience in dealing with such. Take her out on dates, give her massages from time to time, help her choose the clothes she wears. Lastly, pray for her. All the best. There are lots more, but we still have a lot to discuss, so we'll go on. Esther, the thing of, so in the story, she said the child is over 2 years and she's still breastfeeding. Do you think that's a long time?
It depends.
2 years.
So WHO recommends up to 2 years.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you can't go beyond 2 years.
Okay.
But the nutrients we get from breast milk after 2 years are basically not so significant.
Oh, okay.
So you can stop breastfeeding after 2 years.
Okay.
Safely.
Okay.
So I was coming to that. You were asking what the man can do.
Yes.
The issue of, for as long as the woman continues to breastfeed, this issue of odor will not go away.
Sure.
Do you understand? A lot of men are able to control odor from breastfeeding. But in her case, I don't know, for one reason or another, hers is quite excessive.
Right.
But for as long as she continues to breastfeed, it will not stop. And my dear brother, if you are listening to us, let me give you one trick. Let your wife get active beyond the home environment. Look, imagine you are a career woman. You know, you have just 3 months of maternity plus maybe 1 month annual leave. It's done. Even exclusive breastfeeding, which is supposed to be for between 4 to 6 months, is so difficult to do under such circumstances. So you are actually in a hurry to introduce complementary feeding and to get wean the child off the breast milk, so you can get back to your usual duty. But you have created that luxurious environment for your wife. Let me put it that way in this regard. And so she's comfortable continuing to breastfeed even after. It's not bad to even send a child to school after 2 years. But even if you want to keep the child at home for one reason or another, if you want this issue of breast milk scent to go away, let her stop breastfeeding. And you know something? Let me tell you one trick. I I breastfed for more than 2 years.
Okay.
Yes, and I told you that a lot of things I can relate to in the story.
Right.
I breastfed for more than 2 years, but that was because I wasn't. The environment was good for me to continue breastfeeding. But when I started, because I'm in school, I'm doing my PhD. But when things became critical, I was going in for a comprehensive exam. I needed time off. I bring the baby off at that moment.
Right.
So that's the point I'm trying to make. That you have created that
conducive environment
for her to continue. So if you wanted to stop, get her busy beyond the home environment. Let her find something else to do. And like Pastor said, I'm very uncomfortable with you saying your wife is a stay-home mom and so on. You can even find something for her to do, just around, because it's frankly speaking, it's not safe. I mean, this world is full of a lot of uncertainties. Anything can happen to you. Someone was telling me about an issue in the UK where an Indian man, and I understand it's quite their culture, takes care of the wife, pays the bills himself, and everything, social security, everything. He handles everything. And the man died suddenly. And this woman doesn't even know where to start from. She doesn't even know how to pick public transport. It's not bad. She doesn't know. So, my dear, the point I'm trying to make is that, like Pastor said, I think it's not safe for you to confine your wife to the home environment. Find her something that she can easily do whilst taking care of the home. She can spend a lot more time at home if that's what the two of you wish for the family. But let her find something that will help her to explore her self-worth, not wealth, worth. And then to build up her own confidence. And like Pastor said, she has talents. Let her explore these things. Do you understand? So get her to stop the breastfeeding.
Right.
And then there are so many things you can do to help her. So many things. The counseling obviously is not enough. And frankly speaking, if you ask for my opinion, this goes beyond counseling. A lot of people have even texted their agreement to the issue of depression. Let us see a psychotherapist at this moment. You probably cannot do that directly as the husband, because she would even think you've tagged them with a mental health issue. But frankly speaking, it is a mental health issue.
It is.
But you can refer her back to the counselor. If the counselor is professional enough, he would see that this goes beyond just talk therapy, and he will do the referral to the psychologist or psychotherapist or whoever she needs to see, and then gets the necessary help. And I think I've said this previously, that you are seeing things just on the surface, but it's more deep-seated than that. Frankly speaking, there is no woman who does house chores and gets so tired that she doesn't even want to take a bath. Because when you are very tired and you take a bath, you get refreshed.
Yes.
And you're even able to sleep more soundly and so on and so forth. So for your wife to not even care about odor, body odor and so on and so forth, means she doesn't care about her own self.
Right.
And I want you to see it from that point, and then do the necessary thing and go beyond what you have done so far. And please, you said it yourself that she likes to do things all by herself. It means you are not supporting. I think Pastor has already, so I don't want to dwell much on that. But probably what she needs from me is your home support, so that she doesn't want to spoil the standard that you have set for yourself as a family. So be the one to give her the help that she needs. And please, one more thing, your wife needs what we call the me time.
Right.
The me time. And me time is imperative for women who actually don't have a lot of social support. As in the case of your wife, because you said your wife does everything all by herself.
Yes.
Get her some me time. If it's a Friday, you think you can make time to come home a little earlier than usual, do that. Give her some 2 hours, 5-hour break, and let her spend time for herself. And maybe when she reflects on her own life, she will realize what maybe that might help. So and this goes for every woman who is married, who is raising a family, and especially who is working at the same time. We need the me time. And for the women, try to create it actually for yourself. Do it for yourself. Because when you are able to find time to rejuvenate, you come out stronger and, you know, in a better state of mind to actually help your family, which is actually what every man wants from us. Right. So make time for yourself. It's very, very important.
Right.
Please.
Thank you so much, Esther. Counselor, at this point, I just want you to, someone will say, add everything that you want to say for us. Like, how can she take care of herself better and be the woman that her husband wants to be? Your final advice for her, like, and her husband.
I see that they have the husband an issue with communication in the marriage. It looks like they are not talking to each other.
Right.
Okay. She sees the woman's challenge as the woman's problem, but he is outside, and that is a problem. Because if you marry the woman, you love her. That's why you have married her.
Right.
And as humans, we have our individual weaknesses. So what do? We cover it up.
Right.
So if my wife smells, okay, having body odor, what do I do as a husband? I have to make sure that I'll move with her. Even if it is taking her to hospital, to see what is the cause of that. You do that.
Right.
If it is counseling, as you said, they started some few and they stopped, you do that. The concern that you show towards the person also helps the person to overcome the challenge. So communication is key. And because of work these days, we don't have time to communicate with our wives. We think talking on the phone is communication. No, you need to sit. And I asked the woman, how are things today in this house? It looks like you are getting tired. What is happening? Talk. And as you talk to the woman will be telling you how it feels to be in that situation and why she's still keeping the child for 2 years without winning the child. So they have a communication problem over there. I also see that the man thinks that the woman, I've married you, so do everything. If you need support, I'll just go and bring a nanny and come and put the nanny on you. But it's not like that. If they are talking to each other, she will know, the man will know that my wife don't like the nannies because they can't do the things the woman wants. Maybe she's those type who are perfectionists.
Right.
When you do things, you put this water here, they say, no. Put it here. That's how I want it. If you have a woman like that, you should understand her and know that this is how my wife behaves so that you do. Again, in marriage, we adjust. There are things you adjust. There are things you need to compromise a bit. There are things you need to talk about it and work at it and take it out. So you can't get everything straightforward. At a time you have to compromise a bit. At times you have to adjust with certain behaviors and cope. At times you have to work on it so that it becomes perfect for you.
Right.
So they have to do that. And then I will not rule out the counseling. I will not. Because the situation they are in, because the man said she's losing herself and she's losing me. What does it tell you? It tells you that very soon separation will come. And it will lead to divorce. So these are clues that tells us that no, they need to go to a counselor, a professional counselor. And that counselor will refer them if there is any need for further referral. And I think when they go to the counselor, they need to go through all the sessions of counseling. It is not the talk therapy that will help. Here they have to go deeper. And if the counselor refers to a clinical psychologist, so be it. Because she's talking of complaining of headache. And fatigue. Yeah. It means it has gone beyond what we are seeing now. So my brother, I want to encourage you. Take interest in what your wife is doing. And make sure that it's somebody's daughter, but that is your wife.
Right.
You love her, that's why you brought her there.
Yeah.
So care for her. If she loses herself, you have also lost your marriage.
Right.
And therefore, we are encouraging them to come together, talk to each other, help your wife, and then see a counselor.
Right.
Then, if the counselor will refer you, they will do that. And I think the marriage will succeed.
Thank you so much, Counselor. Pastor Nelson, very quickly, unfortunately, I have just a minute. Your final words for the couple.
Yes, thank you so much. The man must understand one thing. A broken marriage is like a national instability. Everyone suffers from it.
Right.
Everyone suffers from it. And so regardless of what he does, in the home, he must make sure that the marriage go on successfully. According to Ken Levin, she said, we all make choices, but in the end, our choices makes us. The point here is this: it is a decision they have to make. No one outside the marriage can make the decision for them.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, whatever they do, it is going to affect them. So if they want the marriage, they should ensure that whatever decision they are taking today, it is going to affect them tomorrow. And so E.A. Buchneri, he summarizes this way: be wise today so you don't cry tomorrow.
Right.
If the man wants to stay at peace and be who he is in the marriage, then he needs some responsibility to perform. He needs to work with the woman in order to solve the problem. So the problem is mutual solving. It is not respect to only the woman or only to him or only money. There are a lot of things money cannot buy, money cannot do. So they need to come together and do. In all, if everything seems tough, the institutor of marriage still have the solutions. We must go to him.
Right.
Amen.
Right. Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. Amen. Esther, final words.
Oh, final words. So, yes, this is to all wannabe couples. No, wannabe family. Yes, family.
Planning, parenting, those coming in, right?
Yes, the first time parents.
And those preparing too.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So please, get yourself well prepared for family life. Okay, and then for women who have given birth, especially if this is the first time, kindly see a mental health professional. You know, in the UK, they do that about 6 weeks after birth.
Okay.
You actually visit a mental health practitioner just so they can assess your mental health.
Right.
Just that alone. Right. Aside your the other parts of your health and the baby, they just want to know the state, the mental health state, because they anticipate such things. So in this part of world, we don't make a big deal out of mental health, but it is obviously from the story.
Right.
So please get help and get it in good time.
Yes.
God be with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Counselor Elijah. Thank you, Pastor Nelson, so much. I think if they even give us 5 hours, we can keep talking about this topic because it's that deep. And my words will be, just as Esther beautifully said, mental health is important. I don't know why we are very quick to go to the hospital for physical well-being, like headache. But when it comes to mental health, which is just an organ in your body, just like your head and your stomach, you are afraid to go because there's a stigmatization when it comes to mental health. But mental health is not the person that's walking on the street naked and mad. That is not it. And so please seek help. And my prayer is that hopefully the man will know that there's more beyond the throwing nannies at you and then the money at you and everything. I think the me time is very important. It will let you look at yourself in the mirror and you go like, this is me.
Exactly.
What's happening? You know, and then you want to come back. Right. So we are praying with you and we are hoping that you're able to solve this. Please do not let it get out of hand again. Let's get help quickly so that at the end of the day, we can all be happy in our homes. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back same time next week with another interesting topic. Until then, please continue watching the rest of the content on Hope TV Ghana. My name is Evie, and I couldn't have done this with Esther, Counselor Elijah, and Pastor Nelson. We'll be back same time next week. Have a good evening.
All right.